Hey there, I'm Boss Yadav. Welcome. I used to be an indie game developer. I also used to make game dev tutorials, but at present I'm ventured into AI. But this isn't a tutorial. This is a comparison video. I pitted three of the world's most powerful AIs: Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Claude, and the OG OpenAI's ChatGPT in a head-to-head deathmatch to code a web-based video game from scratch. The mission is to build a classic breakout game with a modern twist. Instead of a mouse, you control the battle with an actual hand using your webcam. The features we're gonna need is a camera feed, a hand tracking technology, physics, UI implementation, game flow, and game effects. There might be some worthy mentions if needed, and we're going to track how many prompts does each feature took. We're going to put them in a prompts per feature section. And we're also going to track some key metrics that are going to be useful to evaluate the AI. So the metrics are going to be the total number of prompts, number of errors, number of error loops, which means when the AI is prompted to fix an error but actually ended up causing an error. The next one is longest error loop, which means the number of consecutive errors it made. Longest implementation loop, meaning how many prompts it took to implement or fix something in a game. Regression, which means breaking things while trying to implement other things. This will have a huge impact on the quality and experience. Contextual misunderstanding. Restores, which is going back to the last desired working version of the website. And refactors, which is for tidying up the code for better maintainability. Everyone's favorite Anthropic's Claude. Just like you, I thought this is the model to go for coding projects. I fed in my detailed prompt brief, sat back and hoped for a smooth start. The hope lasted for about 5 minutes. It had errored out 5 times before it even had a visual preview. This wasn't a development process, it was a battle of attrition. The final stats are just staggering. To get a working game, it took over 80 user prompts. The AI generated 35 build or runtime errors, and on top of that, 62 prompts were just to ask it to implement the things correctly over and over again. It took so many tries to implement even the simplest features, and the data proves it. A simple request to add collisions between the ball and paddle, the entire point of the breakout game, kicked off a massive error loop that took almost 9 attempts to fix. But the absolute peak of this madness is the game reset catastrophe. All I wanted was a simple button to reset the game. The AI fought me for this for 15 implementation loops. But in one of its genius attempts to fix the problem, it decided the best solution was to just delete all the game's core collision and logic code. It just vanished. It's like asking a mechanic to change your oil, and they solve it by removing the engine. And honestly, that left me speechless. So, the key metrics we're talking about are breaking things while implementing other things. It has done it 4 times. It has misunderstood the context 4 times, which means it did one thing when I asked it to do something else. I have made a total of 2 restores of code, which is going back to the last desired working version. It means 2 things. One, if you wanted to experiment and revert back. Two, you wanted to implement something but it broke and you jumped back. Lastly, I performed a total of 7 refactors, which means cleaning up the code. Let's come to the prompts for feature section. For the camera feed, it took 2 prompts. For collision and physics, it took 9 prompts. Can you believe it? All the other models came when the project was set up with the initial prompt. Hand tracking function, which has a hand control and gesture control in it. It took 11 prompts to implement it correctly. 9 prompts were taken for implementing the whole UI. Now here comes the star, the game flow. It took 15 prompts. The game effects, the shaking, flashing, particles, and just to juice up the game, it costs you 7 prompts. Lastly, I have another worthy mention. It's about a game boundary. The model neither explained me about it nor fixed it. I just left it as it is. It just took 4 prompts alone to just extend a boundary, and it didn't do it anyway. I still can't believe I have had a greater experience with it as a chatbot for coding problems. Next up comes Gemini. After the marathon of debugging, I was not looking forward to starting over. I turned to Google's Gemini, gave it a same prompt, and the difference was night and day. Remember the 80 plus prompts with Claude? Gemini built this entire project in, well, just pause the video and take a guess. I know you can't. It's 8 prompts. My notes even say the preview started working on the second prompt itself. It came with the hand tracking from the very beginning, and it even gave the game this awesome classic retro look with particle effects and screen shakes, with which I mentioned in the initial prompt. Every single one of the 3 errors is encountered was fixed on the very first try. Yes, the total errors were just 3, and yes, there were no, absolutely no error loops. But here's the part where it really blew my mind. Gemini wasn't just taking orders, it was behaving like a proactive tech lead, and it's the perfect description of it gave. Right at the start, it looked at my suggested list of tools and decided to use a better, more integrated tech stack to keep the project lean and stable. And the knockout punch, zero regressions. Not once did it break something that was working. The stability was unreal. Wrong context, zero. It just did what I asked for precisely. I did zero restores because I didn't feel like I needed it. And just a single refactoring. Like Anthropic, it started with errors, but it was just 2 initial errors. Now for the prompts per feature section, camera feed, just 1 prompt. It got it set up with the initial prompt itself. Collision and physics with the initial prompt. Hand tracking, gesture control, got them working with 1 prompt each. User interface, 2 prompts. Game flow, 2 prompts. Game effects, this is gold. It used up the game right at the beginning of the project setup. Shakes, flashes, particles, all the juice right from the beginning. I'm really surprised about the level of understanding that Gemini had from the beginning with just an initial prompt. It seemed to understand the goal of the project. For this task, it was flawless. Next comes OpenAI, the OG. The journey with ChatGPT was a total roller coaster. The final numbers put in right in the middle. It took 47 prompts for the entire project. 9 errors. These errors primarily involved dependency management, incorrect library usage, and module import failures. The model had 5 regressions where it broke existing features. It got off to a hilarious start. My prompt clearly specified a hand tracking game. Its first delivery, a classic breakout game controlled by the mouse, it completely ignored the single most important feature of the project, that is, hand controlled breakout game. Thought about adding a camera feed, but to its credit, my notes say that once it got the hand tracking working, the final result was really smooth. The performance was excellent, and nothing sums up the ChatGPT experience better than the you and I love. All I wanted was a simple UI that came with the kit. This is where the ChatGPT sucked. Components are being drawn over each other. No sign of basic UI implementations. Even after pointing out what's wrong with the UI, it didn't fix things. It took 14 prompts to get the basic UI. There's a bonus from OpenAI here. The other thing that irritated me is the spacebar functionality. The functionality is to press the space bar to launch the ball, and for some reason it didn't get it. In the end, it fixed it, but in the process, it brought back the old bug in the game's logic that I had fixed prompts ago. It has misunderstood the context 3 times, made a single restore, and 6 refactors. Trust me, I feel like it needed it. Okay, let's go to the prompts per feature. The camera feed took 4 prompts. Although simple, it got broken while implementing other things. Physics, just one. Got it working with the initial prompt. Hand tracking and control, 10 prompts. As I told you before, it broke multiple working things. UI, 14 prompts. It even struggled with the game flow. It took 10 prompts to implement a proper game flow. The game FX got working from the initial prompt. So 1. My take on ChatGPT, it's like a talented but messy coder. So the pros and cons of each model. Claude, a lot of errors. And the pros it got is a really good looking UI, and it's actually smooth compared to Gemini. Gemini, the game felt jittery and not so smooth. But the pros, it got things working very fast. The contextual understanding is over the roof. OpenAI, UI is the worst part and it's a nightmare. The pros, the performance is really smooth. The tracking and control is ultimate. Gemini dominated with just 8 prompts to Claude's 80 plus. Gemini had 0 regressions while ChatGPT and Claude broke the game 5 and 4 times respectively. But you know the one funny thing they all made? At some point, every single one of them got the paddle controls backwards in the opposite direction of my hand. It just goes to show even super intelligent AI can make a simple silly mistake. The undisputed champion is Google's Gemini. If you enjoyed this AI showdown, do me a favor and smash that like button, subscribe for more, but do share this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.